WEF has kicked off in Davos, and it is a little bit scary, the agenda that they're up to. Let's start off. So Davos is a place in Switzerland. WEF is the World Economic Forum. If you're not familiar, they have this summit every year. They all gather together. It's a bunch of elites, government officials and business executives and others and people from other organizations. And they get together and they basically plot. They plot the world. They decide on what the future is for all of us. They're plotting our future, and it sounds pretty dystopian, but that's actually what they do. And a lot of it is behind closed doors, unable for the public to really participate in. There's a lot that they do live stream out for the public to watch. You can go to their YouTube channel and watch some of their summit. You can read up about it on their website, but a lot of it is happening behind closed doors with all of these power players. A lot of it is happening in off-the-books meetings with these power plays. They go to dinner together. They hang out and they talk about the future, our future. They talk about our future and how they're going to craft our future in a way that works for them, even though they package it in, this is good for you. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Don't you understand? So that is what is kicking off now, has been going on. I want to start off with this video. This is a clip from Klaus Schwab. Now, a lot of people are talking a lot about the Great Reset. They're talking a lot about the World Economic Forum, and it's getting, shows like mine and others, and there have been books written about it, and people are very leery about what is going on. And so he is now saying, well, we've got this agenda essentially, and now there's this like revolution against our agenda. How dare they? He basically says it's libertarianism that's causing the problem. Watch this.
You have this anti-system movement. What we are seeing is a revolution against the system. So fixing the present system is not enough. Now there is, of course, an anti-system which is called libertarianism, which means to tear down everything which creates some kind of influence of government into private lives. It's dismantling the system.
Can we just play that one more time? Pay attention to this again. All of his words, so watch it again and pay attention.
You have this anti-system movement. What we are seeing is a revolution against the system. So fixing the present system is not enough. Now there is, of course, an anti-system which is called libertarianism, which means to tear down everything which creates some kind of influence of government into private lives. It's dismantling the system.
Okay, so he says it's this anti-system. So now they've got a system that they're doing. They're saying we're trying to fix the system by creating this new system. But now there's this revolution against that system. So now not only do we have to fix the system, that's not enough. Now we have to deal with this anti-system revolution called libertarianism, which is people wanting freedom to make all of their own decisions. So he's saying now we've got this anti-system revolution happening, libertarianism. So now we've got this problem. And he says, and the anti-system, their goal, this revolution's goal, is to tear down everything, to tear down all of the influence that the government might have in their private lives. Yeah, no kidding. He's saying, oh my gosh, how terrible is this? That this revolution, this libertarianism wants to actually tear down all of our government influence into their private lives. Yes, that is exactly what many of us would like to do. Many of us, I don't even consider myself a libertarian, but I do when it comes to social issues. I certainly have strong libertarian streaks. And it would be that I do not want the government to be influencing my private life. That is not the role of government. Many of us feel that that is not their role. Their role is to help us, protect us, right? Protect us with defense, to protect us against each other, make sure that, if you steal my property or kill, or murder, that you pay the price for that, that's considered criminal. And also to many of us think that government should be used to help us continue our freedom, to help us be more free, help us, elevating us, but not in a controlling way, just tools, opportunities, resources. That's it. Nothing more than that. Not, oh, we're going to control you by creating 15-minute cities and saying you can't get around, you can't go further than this 15-minute cities, or saying that we don't want the farmers to be using certain types of fertilizer because it's bad for the environment, and knowing that that's going to collapse the small family farms so that it all gets consolidated to the big corporate farmers so that they control all the food, or CBDCs, or vaccine passports, like all of these things that they're wanting to do to control us that are not actually helping us, but that are just used to control us. Yeah, a lot of people do not want that. And so, yes, that libertarianism, I guess, would be trying to tear down all of the government influence into our private lives. So let's go into now what this year's Davos summit is about, what this year's WEF summit is about. Each year, they invite a lot of the who's who of government and business and philanthropy. They list this on their website. This is from their website, who's coming. You've got Li Qiang, the premier of the People's Republic of China, Emmanuel Macron, president of France, Ursula von der Leyen, president of the European Commission, Javier Milei, that's the new libertarian president of Argentina. Others showing up are Volodymyr Zelensky. You've also got from Ukraine, you also have Prime Minister of Belgium, the president of Colombia, the Prime Minister of Greece, the Prime Minister of Iraq. You've got representatives from Ireland, Jordan, the Kingdom of Jordan, Kenya, Lebanon, Mongolia, Netherlands, like a lot of prime ministers showing up, a lot of presidents showing up, Nigeria, Poland. You also have Qatar. You have the president of Serbia, the president of Singapore, the president of Sri Lanka, also the president of Israel, that's Isaac Herzog, the prime minister of Thailand, Prime Minister of Vietnam, as well as Anthony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, Jake Sullivan, the U.S. National Security Advisor. Representatives from the Senate and the House of Representatives will be there. There's also Antonio Gutierrez from the UN Secretary. He's a UN Secretary General. You've got the managing director of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, the president of the World Bank Group, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, the Secretary General of NATO. You also have Tedros, the Director General of the World Health Organization. You also have the Administrator of the United Nations Development Program. So a lot of bigwigs, a lot of the top dogs showing up in Davos. They say that an estimated, also on top of all of those leaders showing up, an estimated 1,600 business leaders, including 800 plus of the world's top CEOs and chairs from the World Economic Forum's members and partners will participate. There's also going to be more than 150 global innovators. That would be tech pioneers, big tech and business people. And then 200 members of their global shapers, the Young Global Leaders Club, that they kind of, they pick out people that they think that they're basically grooming to be in positions of power later on. So they're all descending onto Davos. I do have to point out that last year there was a lot of news reports coming out from like New York Post and various different outlets showing that there was like 1,000 prostitutes who also had descended onto Davos, because apparently a lot of these leaders and business people and others hire hookers while they're there. They also fly their private jets while they're there. And then they talk about how they're going to save the climate and increase morals and ethics in the world. I mean, these are the types of, it was just such crap. It's such bullshit. These guys all descending on there and being complete and absolute hypocrites. Now, this year, the meeting, they've got, they always do a theme. They always do a theme. And this year's theme is, you could kind of get it from Klaus Schwab and his little statement there, but what they want to do is rebuild trust. That's what they're saying. So it's rebuilding trust is this year's theme. Really curious how they think they're going to do that. How about you stop trying to control us? It's just a thought. So this year they said that their 54th annual meeting is under the theme Rebuilding Trust. The meeting aims to restore collective agency and reinforce the fundamental principles of transparency, consistency, and accountability among leaders. This is how they gaslight us. They say, we're going to rebuild trust. The way we're going to do it is through transparency. We're going to allow you to have what they call restore collective agency. What does that even mean? That's not individual agency. That's collective as the group. Better for the whole. That's kind of what they're already pushing on us. So they're using this, like, oh, we're gonna rebuild trust. We want to be transparent, and really all they're doing is gaslighting us and giving us lip service while continuing to do what they've always done. And they say in order to do this, they've got 4 pillars that they're going to be focusing on during this summit. One of them is achieving security and cooperation in a fractured world. How can we effectively deal with security crises, such as the current situation in the Middle East, while at the same time putting the floor under the structural forces of fragmentation? How can we identify areas where cooperation is essential to ensure a win-win scenario for all stakeholders? Creating growth and jobs for a new era is what they want to focus on. How can government, business, and civil society come together around a new economic framework to avoid a decade of low growth and put people at the center of a more prosperous trajectory? Artificial intelligence is another thing they're going to be focusing on. How can we use AI to benefit all? And also the 4th pillar for this rebuilding trust. I don't know how any of this so far has had to do with rebuilding trust, but hey, whatever. Like I said, gaslighting. A long-term strategy for climate, nature, and energy. How can we develop a long-term systemic approach to achieve the objectives of a carbon neutral and net and nature positive world by 2050 while providing affordable, secure, and inclusive access to energy, food, and water? How do we benefit these trade-offs to achieve social consensus? See, they work in phrases and words as they gaslight us and say, this is about rebuilding trust. Don't worry, we understand you libertarians out there want to have like some kind of personal freedom. You don't want government interfering in your private lives. Oh, okay, we're going to rebuild this trust. But then they sneak in words like collective, what was the term there? The collective agency. And then this last one here, social consensus. When you talk about collective agency and social consensus, that is the that's the absolute opposite of individual agency. That's literally the opposite of individual agency. It's collective agency, consensus. Not you do what's best for you. It's you do what's best for the whole. And in order to get us for you to do what's best for the whole, we decide what is best for the whole, and then we force upon you strategies and measures and restrictions that we believe are good for the whole. Collective agency. As a whole, we've decided this. And social consensus, as a whole, we've decided this. This is the opposite of individual freedom. Do want to play this one. This is a clip that was put together, and this was from the. They call this the Open Forum, the Davos Open Forum. So this isn't from an official meeting from the WEF. They sponsor all of these. They have their official summit that everybody attends, and then they've got these like little kind of break-off set summits or break-off meetings, and people can go and listen to various speakers and a variety of things that are going on depending on their interests. And this was put together by Rukshan Fernando, who is an independent journalist. He did a great job putting this together. This is Naomi Oreskes from Harvard University and Luciana Vaccaro from Swiss universities, basically talking about how toxic Twitter, now known as X, is and how problematic it is. Watch this.
For a long time I was on Twitter, and now it's become such a toxic place that I've concluded it's not a worthwhile place to spend time. And as you've said, it is exhausting. So you do have to pick and choose. And you have to think about where the place is where you can get your message across. But I am trying to figure out, I have given up on X, what a scary name that even is, right? And I don't know what the alternative is right now. So
the question of the social media, I must say that I have abandoned Twitter too, so X, because it's a toxic environment, and we talk about, I have no solution on that, but I think one day it will come the moment of the code of conduct in these places, because journalists, if you spread crazy news and insults, and if a journalist says racist things, it can be amended.
Exactly.
Why social medias that have such big power, we still can, because it's new, but I think there will be a societal reflection on how information is brought there. Of course, on X now there is also the policy of the owner that is problematic. But I think this is a problem of the society of the future, the deontology in social media.
Yeah, so there they are saying, oh no, it's just so terrible that all these people can talk to each other in real time and spread information in real time. How are we going to get control of it? It's just toxic. It's misinformation. It's terrible. Basically lamenting how people can actually have a voice and a platform and spread information. And of course, there is some misinformation that gets spread, but that happens even just talking to your neighbors and talking to your uncle at holiday parties or something. But of course, then true information breaks through eventually. And we've seen that time and time again, where misinformation is then countered with real information, and then people are corrected. And there is oftentimes no better place to do that than social media. That's kind of the irony of this when they talk about, oh no, social media spreads misinformation and it's toxic. At the same time, social media, at the very same rate that maybe misinformation is spread, true information can also be spread. So yeah, it cuts both ways, but true information usually prevails when people end up getting it. You just have to trust people. But that is very difficult for our leaders and elites to do, is to trust us. They instead want to be in complete control.